Bob, do you want to give us the DX report?
Right. Okay. Well, lots of things happening. Um, Start with a bit of a disappointment here. A lot of us were looking forward to filling in some slots of Somaliland on the high frequency bands, and we were waiting for 6 Oscar 3 Tango to show up. This was an Italian D expedition. They thought they had all their ducks in a row, their license, all the permissions to bring their equipment into the country. Unfortunately, they got their okay, but they never were able to get their equipment out of customs. And they spent 2 weeks running uh, from one institution to another. Apparently, they don't work together in Somaliland. And all they got was a bunch of, well, I don't know, maybe, or yes, or we don't recognize that. And so finally, after 2 weeks of trying to sort this out, they finally gave up, and they were lucky, very lucky, to get their equipment back and able to get back into Italy. So that was a bit of a disappointment, and boy, bit of a lesson in the expeditionary. In the Pacific, we've had George Wallner, AA7JV. He was at North Cook Islands, E51D. He worked a lot of stuff on 160 and 80 meters. I worked him on both bands, FT8 and CW. He does a great job. And I worked him this morning, about 2 o'clock this morning, Maritime Mobile. But I didn't really know where he was. I know he had left the Cook Islands, but I heard from him a few minutes ago, and he's arrived in Bora Bora. So these are some islands in French Polynesia. And so he's waiting for his license there, and he'll be operating from Fox Ocean / AA7JV there shortly. So if anybody needs that on the lower bands, George will be there. Also in the Pacific, we have going here the Rebel Group at 3 Delta 2 Victor and 3 Delta 2 Zebra, I think. And they're very active. They've been uploading to Clublog frequently. And well, we haven't heard from them on 6 meters yet. They say they might be active on 50.310, but nobody's seen any spots or any activity. So we're just keeping our eye on that. And the other group that's really going gangbusters, and Frank alluded to them earlier, is PX0FF. And man, those guys have only been on the air for 3 days, and they've already logged 50,000 QSOs. So they're really doing a great job. A bit of excitement on 6 meters. We started having some activity last week. And it began with some reports of long path contacts to Asia. And some guys down in South Texas, let's see, yeah, N5, Delta George, and K5RK, they're down near Houston. And there's another gentleman down in Brownsville, Texas. Who were able to work some long path into Japan. So that's pretty exciting. But they're like 1,000 miles, 1,200 miles south of us up here in the Midwest. So we never saw any of that. We certainly didn't have the ES link to them. However, on Saturday, we got a big surprise because several of us here in the Midwest, in Illinois and up in Northwest Wisconsin, started getting some long path decodes on FT8 on 6 meters from JAs. I know WB9Z recorded half a dozen of them. Unfortunately, nobody was able to work any of them. But boy, it sure was exciting to hear that this was possible. And, hopefully it speaks of good things to come. Now, this morning was a bit of a turning point, I think, in propagation on 6 meters so far this season. Because starting about 9 o'clock this morning, we had one heck of a great opening into South America, and it lasted for several hours. And after we got well into it, we started seeing spots from, and actually I was copying the guys down in the Falklands, VP8NO and VP8LP, but also being spotted was our friend Lance Collister, W7GJ, who's down in ZD9 land. So ZD9GJ was spotted by quite a few people. That's a long haul on 6 meters. And so was the station that Frank mentioned earlier, PX0FF. So a lot of excitement this morning on 6 meters. Also, there's been a lot of activity, at least with the West Coast guys, down in the Pacific this evening. So I've been keeping an eye on it, and we haven't had a link into the West Coast yet. So, but I'm going to keep watching it and keeping my fingers crossed. So that's what was cooking on 6 meters. Just ahead, we got a few things. If anybody needs Wake Island, Wake Island is still number 27 on the most wanted list. And we have somebody going out there, Tom NL7RR. I think he does some contracting work out there. He's going to be operating portable KH9, and he'll be on 20-meter sideband. And he expects to be on from 600 to 0800 Zulu. So if anybody needs Wake Island, here's your chance to work them. Also, an expedition to Nauru, Charlie 21, Mike. They're going to start up on the 16th. This is an expedition that the Madison DX Club has funded, and I'm looking forward to them. This is a good group, a German group, and I know they're going to do a good job in the low bands, and hopefully they might do something on 6 meters as well. Now, one more thing here. There's kind of an interesting bit of news. Some of you may have heard of this. The Chagos Islands, that's where VQ9 is, Diego Garcia Air Base. The Chagos Islands are going to be UK, the United Kingdom is finally, after many decades of turmoil here, is finally going to turn over sovereignty of these islands to Mauritius. And this is really in the works. This is really going to happen. The big question is, are we going to have possibly 2 DXCC entities there? Could the airbase, and the airbase, by the way, is guaranteed in this deal for a 99-year lease. So the UK and the US will maintain the whole island of Diego Garcia. So the question is, are we going to have VQ9 out of Diego Garcia and some 3 Baker prefix out of the rest of the Chagos Islands? We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out governmentally, and what the wizards at the ARRL have to say about this. So that's what I have to say about DXing. That's what I've been following. But I guess you want me to do also, Kevin, the funding request, right? Hey, you're muted, Kevin.
Yes, Bob. We got two funding requests, which I shared with the membership today, the details. We got them in last week. I think they came to Jim and to me. And do you want to just tell us your thoughts on those, Bob, and then we can.
Sure. Well, several people looked this over. And one of the requests was from a mostly German group, actually a very experienced German group. These are the guys who did T-32 Echo United back in the spring, in March, I believe. And they did a bang up job. And, they paid a lot of attention to North America, too. They made a lot of contacts, over 40,000 Qs, and about 35% of them were with North America. So they do pay attention to us. Anyway, this group is now going to VK9X and VK9C, Christmas and Cocos Keeling Islands. And they are going in February, March, which is a pretty good time to be looking for them. And they're pretty high on the wanted list, number 62 and 69. So I think this is an expedition that's worthy of some funding. We'd certainly like to have our club logo on their website, and so several people have recommended $100 donation to this group.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Good, thank you.
Aye.
All right, the other one we looked at is to the Andaman Islands. Now, that's another one that's really in demand. I know I need a lot of slots on there. They're number 53 on the North America Most Wanted list. And this is a group of a dozen Belgian operators. Their call is going to be Victor United 4 X-ray. And they're going to be operating 10 through 160 meters, 6 stations, 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day. And they're going between March 10th and March 21st. In my book, they couldn't pick a better time for us in North America to try to work them. It's just a perfect time for now north-south propagation and propagation over the poles to them. So we thought this was another expedition that was worthy of support of our club, and we had recommended another $100 donation for them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion? I apologize for not asking for discussion on the last one before I called for the vote. Any discussion or comment? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, carried. And Jim, did you get that? You have that information for them, right?
Yep.
Okay,
We're good.
good. Yeah, they we seem to get information about some of these right before our meeting, so we do get the information out to the officers, as Bob said, and we have some discussion before we bring them to the club. And as we discussed last month, requests for expeditions which are maybe not within the top 100, or that there's fairly frequent expeditions, we're less inclined to support them. Not that members shouldn't, couldn't, should, but for the club, for the limited funds that we have, we want to make certain that we sponsor and support those, which probably provide the best bang for our dollar, bang for our buck. Good. Any other DX stuff, Bob or anyone else that they care to comment on? I guess we're going to have a presentation tonight, which should help us on 6 meters. And as was discussed, people are already experiencing maybe the beginning of a new season here. Okay. Just like to remind everyone that we do publish our programs on our YouTube channel, and going forward, we're going to be publishing our meeting with DX reports, so that members who aren't able to make this meeting are able to get the benefit of that information. So you can always go to our website, madisondxclub.org, and find all kinds of information about, our next month's program, about our past programs, our minutes, everything there you'd like to know about the club. And we will continue to try to keep that as up to date as we always have. And always interested in getting any feedback about our programs. We've, I think last month's program we had, I didn't check this week, but last week we had 1,300 views. So different programs will have different interests shown. The one that we're going to be coming up has been one of our popular ones. Propagation always seems to be a very popular topic, and we've been blessed to have some very, very good presentations over the last few years on propagation. The Bob, just to give you a heads up, we also want to add to our agenda what is the program for next month. And if you have that handy, if you'd share that with us, that would be great.
Oh, sure. Well, we're going to have K9 LA back, and he always does a great job for us, and we always have a great turnout for K9 LA. And he's going to be giving us an update on cycle 25. So looking forward to that.
Well, that's great, and I think it will be one of interest. I think this this solar season has become very, very interesting, and I think I don't think I know it's a topic that we have a lot of interest in. So that'll be great to have that next month. Any other questions, comments for the good of the group? All right, well, I'll adjourn the meeting. I'm going to stop the recording.